The Cardiac Bucs do it again. 38-35 is your final score in Seattle. The Bucs with a walk-off field goal to improve their record to 4-1. Maybe one of the most entertaining games we have seen in a while. Without a doubt, the most explosive game of the season so far. We're going to get into it, take your calls, and much more today on the Cannon Fire Podcast.
I want to hear cannons. Downfield, pull up, ball to the 5, touchdown Tampa Bay. Mike Evans does it again. Fire the cannons, Bucs.
It's first and goal. That's picked off. And who else? Rondé Barber. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers may ride to the Super Bowl with that one.
Third down, 18. Dropping Gannon, looking Gannon. Those up with the heads intercepted. At the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 25. 20. Derek Brooks all the way. There it is. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl. And then the cannons come. Fire them. Keep on firing them. Keep on firing them.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are victorious once again in the 76 Creamsicle, and they improved their record so far this season to 4-1. Coming into this game with a litany of injuries, we talked about it all week long. The nightmare injury report looked like a lot to overcome, and the Buccaneers do that on the road in a game that is one of the best shootouts we have seen in a while. From Baker Mayfield to the rest of the offense, this is one of the most explosive performances we have seen from this offense. Finally, things starting to open up a little bit with Josh Grizzard calling the plays and a lot of production today from the wide receivers. Baker Mayfield, without a doubt, a clinic today. No turnovers and just throwing the rock all over the place. And again, what was a quarterback duel, Sam Darnold playing just as well. We've got a lot to break down, but it's a lot more fun when the Bucs are on top of games like that. Welcome back to the show, folks. Evan, how you feeling?
Pretty crazy, right? And, me and you were talking about it before before we started, the show here, and Bucs haven't really had a crazy game like that in a little bit. It feels like, right? Like, obviously, look, all the games this season, most of them have been crazy, but not like that. Not where it's like shootout back and forth. Both offenses are just hitting on all cylinders. It's like effortless, right? Like, haven't really seen that too much. And then what ends up being the difference? 2 turnovers, right, by the Buccaneers defense. So, and some of it involves luck. Seattle got lucky a few times. Buccaneers got lucky a few times. Obviously, that ball, pops off of Logan Hall's helmet, deflects a little bit, and then Levante David's able to come up with it. Obviously, Seattle, running that pitch play, pitches it back, fumbles the ball. But there's some too on Seattle's end. So, yeah, I mean, just a crazy game, and it was nice to win it, and just the way they won, though, right? And I think, you're looking at it, and the defense, we'll break down offense and defense, right? Defense didn't have a great day. Yeah, I think the injuries matter there as well, but also some players didn't really play well. But this offense was just literally hitting on all cylinders, and this is where their first 2 drives were 2 field goals. So I mean, you turn even one of those into a touchdown, and it starts to look even better. Yeah, really a fantastic win, and really good to steal one there.
Before we start taking calls, we got a lot of people queued up, excited to have you guys ready to talk Bucs. Baker Mayfield. Got to talk about the quarterback's performance. One of the most complete days from Baker Mayfield we have seen so far this season. Honestly, so far as a Buccaneer, just one of the best, I think, passing days he's had. Looked comfortable throughout the day. 29 for 33, 379 yards. I think about 15 yards shy of his career high. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then, of course, the Emeka Egbuka show, 7 receptions, 163 yards, and a touchdown. Baker probably could have had 3 touchdowns if we want to consider how short Egbuka came on that 57-yard reception. He kind of chucked it up on a prayer, and the rookie wide receiver comes down with it. He's off to one hell of a start, but Baker Mayfield, one of his best games so far this season, if not the best.
He was on one. And to be fair, I thought Sam Darnold was too. Obviously, like I said, we'll get to the Bucs defense, but sometimes you gotta credit the opponent. And I think Seattle and people, we did a lot of collaborations, right, this past week with a lot of Seattle people, and they might be saying, look, Baker Mayfield was slinging it, right? He just was. And this is, I mean, he had time in the pocket, which helps. It's amazing, right, how that works. but also, I mean, just everything. That touchdown to Egbuka, that's pinpoint. I mean, that's just a fantastic ball. That's just a laser in there right down the seam, right when they needed it too. Right, I think that was a 3rd and long. It was like a 3rd and 16 or something like that. Just yeah, unbelievably clutch plays all day long, and he continues to come up big for this team, right? And whether you're down or you're up or tied, it doesn't really matter. He continues to make plays when it matters the most, and that's all you can ask for.
We got a $10 super chat here from Amazement717. Thank you, my friend. He says, Baker was outstanding today. Emeka, the game wrecker, showing out in front of the fam. Defense was suspect all day, but made a key play. Not too upset because it was due to the injury bug. Baker is a top 5 quarterback. Absolutely. I can agree with every statement there about Baker. And then, of course, Emeka Egbuka. The defense, I think we'll dive into it as this show goes on, but we have a couple of calls to get to. Thank you, Amazement, once again, my friend, for your super chat. And all of you guys hanging out with us. Let's get to our first call of the evening from the 770. Who's this?
It's Corey from Nashville.
Corey, how you feeling?
Let me preface this by saying I'm part of like a Surgeon General team. You know how they warn pregnant women about smoking. I'm gonna warn you about my expletives in this moment. Baker fucking Mayfield, bro. When you want to talk about dial the fuck in, that motherfucker today, his jersey's bought. I'm buying all of them. I'm buying the red one. I'm buying the white one. I'm buying the throwback. I'm buying the fucking military one. I'm buying the fucking alternate. I'm buying one from China. I'm buying all that motherfucker's jerseys today. When you want to talk about dialed in from an NFL quarterback level following the Brady era, Baker Mayfield, that was probably, outside of that Packers game a couple years ago, that game right there was his best game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. That was his best game. Everything that he was up against, that was his best game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And that motherfucker told us after last week we should be pissed off because we should have beat the Eagles. He lamented throwing that pick in the red zone, and that motherfucker had 3 incompletions today, dotting the Seattle Seahawks up. And I cannot name another defensive player in the last 10 to 15 years that makes impact plays like Antoine Winfield Jr. He blitzes Sam Darnold on that last possession, forces him to throw the ball early, so getting the interception from Levante David. And how about that, guys? From Winfield Jr. to Levante David to Baker Mayfield to kicking the field goal. Listen, guys, this team is special. We just got to get healthy. But you know what? I'm so impressed. I get it. The defense gave up 30-plus points today. But you know what? It's a 17-game season. The defense is not going to be perfect. The defense has held us down all season. The defense made some lapses with some injuries today. But to be fair to the Seattle Seahawks, they made some really tough catches today as well. But I just got to tell you, Baker fucking Mayfield and his MVP campaign is astounding this year. And I am so happy to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan right now. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Corey, great call, man. 10 touchdowns to 1 interception so far this season for Baker Mayfield. You want to talk about MVP campaign. You want to talk about a guy carrying his team right now. Baker Mayfield making a legitimate case. I know that everybody loves the appeal of a Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson's going to be missing some time right now. I really do think.
Also, you have to win, right? And Lamar Jackson's team is now 1-4. So, like, yeah, you're just that matters too. So that helps. Obviously, look, we're in week 5. There is a lot of football left to be played, but right now, I mean, he's certainly has to be. If you're having a conversation, right, a way too early conversation about MVPs. Not saying that you say, oh, he's the absolute favorite, but he absolutely needs to be mentioned. Like he just does because there's been times where he's literally willed his team to win.
We got a $2 super chat here from Chigs. He says, Levante David, game-changing interception, absolute cinema, and I cannot agree more. To see Levante David, who, honestly, another up-and-down day for Levante David, missed the tackle.
Better.
Yeah, missed the tackle on the one touchdown there from
when that happened. I said, "Ooh."
Yeah, just kind of shed right off of the guy. But redemption, if you will. Again, we'll talk.
It's like whenever you see your dog and like you see like he's up on like the couch or something, and you know he's about to fall, and like he falls and like hitting, you're like, ooh, buddy,
Yeah.
and like that's how it was like watching Davis that tackle. Like, oh man,
Again, we'll dive a little bit
poor
more
guy.
into that
Poor
second
guy.
half. We'll dive a little bit more into that second half for the defense, but I think what that interception shows you is how valuable it is to just have some kind of killer instinct in putting a team away. You almost had it a little bit earlier, a couple of series earlier, with the Antoine Winfield interception that was waved away because of a Zion McCollum penalty. You know, that could have been the dagger. The Bucs were ahead at a touchdown by that point, and he got a decent return. He was like all the way down to the 30-yard line, but you know, you don't get that chance. Even with the defense allowing 5 straight Seattle scoring drives, that interception at the very end of the game just was able to keep it from getting out of hand, and the Bucs were able to take advantage and come out on top. That's great to see because it's a complete effort from your offense to get down there in good field position, for Rachaad White to pick up that critical first down.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was really great to see. So thank you, Chicks, for your super chat here.
Yeah, and really quick, while we continue on the offensive side of the ball, I want to shout out Rachaad White. I thought he played well today. I mean, didn't do anything crazy, right? It wasn't like, oh my God, this is an insane day. But he was pretty much exactly what they needed him to be today. I mean, he finds the end zone twice, 14 carries for 41 yards, has 4 catches for 30 yards. So, you know, including, you know, like I said, pretty clutch, you know, run there at the end to really get it down into, you know, makeable field goal range. So, and smart to stay in bounds there as well to make Seattle burn that final timeout. So I thought, you know, Rachaad White, obviously, again, we're probably one of the top shows, I think, and, you know, to sort of defend Rachaad White a lot, right? And then say that, you know, he's kind of like, you know, it's going the other way, right? Where people are like, you know, people, when somebody say, oh, something's underrated, then all of a sudden it gets overrated. I think Rachaad White right now is on the underrated scale. I think people are being a little too harsh on him with Bucky Irving's, you know, emergence and everything, but he's been good for the Bucs so far this season. So shout out to White.
He's in a contract year. We know it's a critical time for him. He's going to get paid. I do think he's going to get paid. There's a lot of value in what he brings to the table. Great pass protection back. The Bucs were using him a lot in that sense today. And you saw how successful the offense was and how it was probably, even without Mike Evans, I would say the most impressive offensive performance we've seen without Mike Evans when you consider recent history. Missing
easy.
games. Yeah, it was great to see these guys step up.
And I mean you're without Bucky Irving. Like, you know, that's matters too, right? You're still without Luke Gedeke. You're still without Cody Mauch. Like, huge effort by everybody involved on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And shout out to the offensive line because, you know, we've criticized them enough, but they were really good today.
And we talked about this on the game previews as well, but Cade Otton getting involved today. People have been begging the question, where's Cade Otton? The Bucs paid him some money. They need him to show up. 4 receptions, 81 yards. Doesn't find the end zone, but they were getting him involved early and often. Let's get to some more calls here. We got people jam-packed, and we appreciate your patience from the 813. Who's this?
Hello, again, my name is Michael Roa. So I have called a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
My name is your boy Mike Roa again.
Yes, sir. Good to hear from you. How you feeling? 4-1.
4-1, that's amazing. How long are we gonna keep like playing these like almost losing games?
I mean, as long as it takes, if you win them, right? I mean, that's it doesn't really matter. It's not gonna say in the box score almost lost, right? It's gonna say win. So
I do agree, though. It's been stressful fashion.
So when are we gonna get our defense out of these defense and offensive injuries? And I was kind of mad when we lost to the Eagles last week. I feel like that game was scripted.
Yeah, the NFL isn't scripted, but you know, it's not WWE. But no, I mean, look, it's, you know, the injuries. You hope to get out as healthy as possible at this point, right? The Bucs and again, we're like not even an hour removed from the game, but it appears that they've got out of Seattle unscathed. So hopefully that gives them another week to get a little bit healthier, and then we'll go from there. But obviously, football's a physical game, and guys are going to get banged up.
Yeah, I think
Exactly.
all things considered, Bucs came out of this one mostly healthy, and that's good to see. Because at this point, you're just waiting for more and more guys to get back. Hopefully this week we get some kind of sizable update on Luke Gedeke, some of the guys who have been out of the lineup for a little bit now. We heard that Bucky Irving had the shoulder injury that was added late to the injury report last week, so he's going to be dealing with that. They've already basically ruled him out of the 49ers game next week. So, again, with the offense running the way that it did today with no Bucky Irving and no Mike Evans, you love to see the Bucs continue to overcome some of the hurdles they've been thrown this year.
Yeah, I just hope they don't do this all season, though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's ebbs and flows. It's the NFL season. But we appreciate you calling in, my friend. We're going to let you go and get to some more calls here. We appreciate your patience once again. From the 813, who's this?
Oh, boy.
This message has been transcribed. One moment while I notify the caller.
All right. Well, I guess we're in the waiting room now.
Hello?
Hello,
Yeah.
who's this?
I know who it is.
NK, sorry guys. What's up, guys?
Would you put us on your VIP wait list? What was that?
My bad, guys. I was reading you guys' comments.
High roller over here, man. How we feeling, MK? 4-1, baby.
Fucking awesome, man. I'm walking around drinking some freaking beer right now, man. What a win, right?
I agree. So tell me, just tell me about your experience through that game. I know it can't be easy. These first 5 games, I think that is, the 4th or 5th straight? I mean, as far as victories go, the 4th straight win in the final minute of regulation. Bucs are not making it easy on anybody so far this season, but, I mean, they are 4-1, man. How did you feel watching the game?
Man, I almost had half a heart attack watching that shit, guys. Hey, do you guys care if I curse?
You're good.
Let it, buddy, let it rip.
All right, dude. I almost had a fucking heart attack watching that shit, guys. Holy hell. My boy Levante David, we're all getting super worried about him getting super old. That guy came in clutch right at the end of that interception, man.
Yeah,
Holy hell.
it was a clutch play. It was a clutch play, and he made a couple other plays today too, so it was nice to see.
I think it's good to see. It's good to see the legends and the leaders on this defense step up and make the plays. Right? It's good for Levante David of all people to have a moment like that, especially with all things considered, the up and down season he's had in 2025. I think that's a great moment for Levante David.
No, yeah, literally. I mean, shit. Like, I'm sitting here wearing a Ryan Suckup jersey right now.
Yeah, dude. That's what I like to hear.
No way.
I swear to God, I could send you a photo right now if you wanted to, man. I'm wearing a Ryan Suckup jersey right here, man.
That's awesome.
I got really drunk one night and I said I'm gonna order a Ryan Suckup jersey. But
More than
holy hell,
reason.
what a freaking
More than reasonable, man. I myself had considered getting a Ryan Suckup jersey. Chase McLaughlin now in the
I
record.
was gonna say, you
books,
gotta
but-
get a Chase McLaughlin.
Yeah, I got to get a Money Mac jersey at this point. He had another impressive day, was responsible for a lot of the Bucs points in that first half.
He can MK can take his Ryan Suckup jersey and put it right next to his 10 Chris Baker jersey. It's
Yeah.
fine. Like that.
That's awesome, man. I freaking shit, man. I'm shocked I don't have one Chris Baker jersey, man. Not one.
MK, final thoughts before we let you go, my friend.
No, nothing too much. I just want to say what's up to you guys. It's my first call-in show all season.
I know, we appreciate you.
All
We're riding high, man. 4-1 after the first 5 games. I think that's a hell of a reason to call in. And we always appreciate hearing from you, my friend. Thanks for all the support in the YouTube chat as well. We'll talk to you soon. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs, man.
Mikey Kelly. One more time for all of our callers. Phone lines are still open at 305.
I thought he was gonna start rapping. That's what I thought we were getting into. When he asked if he could curse, I was like, oh, here we go.
305-224-1968. The meeting ID on your screen. 747-973-0150.
Bill Camporis with a 20-hour super chat. Have another beer on me, guys. Appreciate you, Bill.
You're the man, Bill. We might substitute for some Baconators, but
or both. I mean,
both. Yeah. So where do you want to
do
take
it sometimes?
where do you want to take this
We
conversation?
got a $5 super chat
Let's
from
go.
Sturb here. Bucks win, so you win. No blocked punts or field goals. That is true.
Yeah.
Good to see the O-line play well. Baker had plenty of time to bake. Flags flying high this week. That is a good point. The Buccaneers did not have any blocked punt or field goals. The only special teams issue was Seattle was starting pretty much every drive at the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
that was pretty much it.
I mean, you can blame that on your recovery team, but I will say shout out to Riley Dixon. Although it didn't amount to much because the Seahawks drove 99 freaking yards and scored anyways. He did have that nice punt and down Seattle inside the 1 yard line. I think it was Josh Hayes was able to jump underneath it and make the play. You like to see that execution.
Seattle went 99 yards, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that is what it is. And again, we will get into this defense. I feel like I've been teasing it the whole show, but I want to get everything off of the table, man.
Well, we got to talk about one more guy on offense.
I know we've talked about Egbuka.
I mean, well, I want to talk more about Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot more to be said.
That guy is freaking crazy. He, again, and I think I said this. Last week. I either said it last week or the week before. That about, Mike Evans and everything. And Mike Evans had a good rookie season. It wasn't like crazy. It wasn't the best season of his career. But like, Mike Evans was not doing a lot of these things in his rookie season. And Emeka Egbuka has just been unbelievable. They would not have the same amount of wins that they do right now.
L. Peters
If
747
it weren't for him.
with a $20 super chat. Not to interrupt you there.
You guys are the goats tonight. You guys are awesome.
Beers are on me, boys. Cheers. Go Bucs. We greatly appreciate you guys.
right.
Everybody showing up and showing out big tonight. Is the Buccaneers are 4-1. Oh, it feels like 2021, man. Like it.
I think that was that the last time? Oh no, were they 4-1 last year?
I don't think they were. 4-1.
Yeah. I think they were. Yeah.
That scares me.
Yeah.
That's scary because it still can get bad, but I don't want to look at
there's still a lot of football that's to be played, but I will say we talked about last week, right? We talked about the teams fight, right? And they're never give up and this and that, all the John Cena things you want to say, right? Hustle, loyalty, respect, all that. They have it, right? They must have John Cena posters in the locker room. I know I have it in my bedroom, so it makes sense. But then today they faced adversity today, right? It wasn't like smooth sailing. They went down late in the game. They had to tie the game. They had the ball with 3 minutes to go and they were down 7. Like there was adversity on the road against that's a good team.
It is a good
team.
Like
Seattle, that's not a slouch. Like, the Bucs went into Seattle and beat a good football team. So, you really can't ask for much more from this, specifically this offense. This again, just hitting on all cylinders today. Josh Grizzard was in his bag. I mean, obviously player execution matters as well. Guy like Tej Johnson getting involved for really the first time this season, like significantly. And that's what you need when a guy like Mike Evans is out, right?
Yeah.
When a guy like Chris Godwin is still trying to get his legs up from under him. And Chris Godwin looked a little bit better today, right? Had the one drop on the third down, which he probably should have caught. But other than that, I mean, he looked a little bit better today than he did last week. He was targeted less today, but it is what it is. I think as the season goes on, we can expect more from Chris Godwin. So, we'll see what ends up happening, when Mike Evans comes back. But, man, the Buccaneers have a whole lot of weapons at their disposal. And not saying every game's going to be like that, obviously. But I will say that, this was a really good sign for things to come.
Yeah, I mean, that second half performance last week against Philadelphia, I know the defense was kind of trending the opposite when we talk about this week and how they were playing in that second half. But with all things considered, I think it was just a gutsy win and things were coming together for them, right? Like, this is the kind of performance that you expect from those top-tier teams. Sam Darnold was throwing the rock all over the place today. He had one of the better performances of his career. Without a doubt, one of the more impressive passing performances so far this season with Seattle. Jackson Smith and Jigba was really, really good. You want to talk about Ohio State
awesome.
Alumni. Yeah. We got a couple of more calls we're going to get to, but one more thing here on Emeka Egbuka before we get to these calls. Players with 20-plus receptions, 300-plus yards, and 5-plus receiving touchdowns through their first 5 career games over the last 50 years. There are only 4 guys who have done it. Roy Williams is kind of the odd man out.
Okay.
Randy Moss, Jamar Chase, and Emeka Egbuka. He is
pretty good, I think.
That's pretty good company.
That Jerry Rice guy, I think, he was all right back
Jamar Chase, Randy Moss, Roy Williams. Not even Jerry Rice was on this list. But Emeka,
that's right. Yeah, I said Jerry Rice. What am I talking about?
That's all right. Jamar Chase, same difference.
Randy Moss.
I mean, this is elite company. And again, just continuing to show week in and week out that it's not really a fluke. We talked all day about, Emeka Egbuka going to be facing double team attention. Excuse me. Wow. Double team attention This week, let's see how they try and shut him down, and he catches 7 yards for a $163, and he also finds the end zone. very, very close. Very close to 2 touchdowns. Let's get to some calls here before this really gets off of the rails. We appreciate your patience from the 813. Who's this?
Yo, it's Bernard, BK
BK.
Jackson.
What's up, BK?
I'm here, man.
How you feeling?
Hey, just want to be consistent. Oh, shoot, a lot better now. You asked me
I did
about,
see that.
you know,
I did see that you called for the firing of the special teams coordinator mid-game on Twitter. I did see that. So
No. I didn't just call. No, I stand by that 100%. Because if this game goes by, the only reason. Let's just start there. We'll start there, and then we'll get to that. My issue is early weeks, bad kicking. Move along, even a couple weeks after that, bad punting coverage. The thing that has haunted us the entire time was really about to kick us and hitting yards was the return yards for the other team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm just giving like the eye test. But it just feels like whenever we need these people to drive for a long time, we need to, take control of a game in the field position rim. You cannot count on our coverage team to be there. It's just not going to happen. They're going to break something around. It's going to be, 35 to that 50 range. And it's just like, those are hitting yardage. We need 20 and under realistically within the 20s. That would be something that, is respectable. All right. And so those were the things that kind of had me just thinking like, look, if we lose today because we're breaking off 50-yard kickoff returns, then that's not acceptable. That's another way the special team. Let's put it this way: I should not be talking about special teams at the end of a game.
Yeah,
That's how I feel about football. All right? So I'll just leave it at that. And if I am, then there's a problem. And the fact that there's a problem in 3 different phases of one phase of the game, that's a problem. So that's where we at. Now, on to the good stuff, man. Look, I've been waiting to see Lavonte David show up and really be impactful. And I mean like Derek Brooks level impactful. And we got it today. We got the pick when we needed it. I know first caller talked about Antoine Whitfield. Like, yeah, showed up big time, did his thing. But how many picks have we dropped? How many turnovers have we not had? And we got it this time? Like, that's what I'm talking about. More importantly, and I'll say this and I'll get off, this win means more to me than any other win that we've had so far, and this is the reason why. Quick story, this guy was said, man, he hit me up, said, man, yo, BK, I seen this fire. I know y'all in retro. I seen this fire jersey today. Dude had like number 7 on. And I was like, man, that's a hard Bucky jersey. And then I got closer and turned around, and it was Jeff Garcia. And I started laughing. I said, you know what? If we don't start winning the games that we're not supposed to win, but the games that we need to win, then as great as we love Baker Mayfield, he may at the end of this just be another Jeff Garcia for us. And so when I looked at it, I said, this was a game where I needed to see Baker show up. I need him to show out. Even if we don't win, we need to win because of you. Like, that's where we are. We're beating the teams we're supposed to beat, but we haven't found a way, in my opinion, to close all of the games that we're on even par with. Games like the Eagles, games like this week, games like next week with 49ers. Like, these are the games that we as Bucs fans walk into and say, I hope we win. Not necessarily like, I believe we win. We have we have the tools to win, but there's like, we need to hit that next level. I don't just want to win the South. I don't want just a wild card. I want like top 2 in the conference. Like, that is where I believe that we are, even while we're not being healthy, because keep it real, Seattle wasn't healthy either. Mm-hmm. And them boys in the trenches showed up today. If you want to rewatch this game could have been lost in the trenches. We didn't do good at the defensive line. The offensive line, held up pretty strong, but not in the run game. So it was, it could have went south quick, but it didn't. We showed resilience. 12th man wasn't a factor, and I gotta give Baker his love, man. Yo, we love you, Baker. Yo, keep baking. Keep easy bake. keep easy bacon, and that's where I'm at. I'll listen back to what you guys got to say.
BK, great call, man. Go Bucks. We'll talk to you soon. We appreciate hearing from you. I tell you, he makes a valid point with that feeling in the second half of something that we've harped on a couple of times this season. Luckily, the Bucs defense delivered today with that Levante David interception, but it's almost that lack of killer instinct in the second half to put a team away, right? You're beating teams that you're this much better than, but you're beating them by this much. You're waiting until the last minute of the game to walk out of there. I know it's situational.
Seattle's better than those teams, though. Too.
Yeah,
like,
no,
Seattle's the second best team they played so far.
Yeah, I also agree with that. I think that today was it was the importance of having a play like that in the fourth quarter. That's a difference maker. Even if they get the Antoine Winfield one that was wiped away, they were leading at that point. Another touchdown could have essentially put that game away. So having that ability to just take the ball away in the second half, we're starting to see them get used to taking the ball away more. Again, the Jalen Milroe kind of the botched pitch, if you will, was looking for his running back and then just threw it a little too far behind him. Bucs take advantage, and that's great to see because that ends up being points. So just establishing a killer instinct in the fourth quarter is something that all great defenses seem to have. Yeah. And again, it means a lot to see Levante David step up today and be that guy.
Yeah. And now, now that we're pretty much on the defense, I do want to say, I mean, they didn't play great today. It definitely wasn't good. I thought Sam Darnold had it was like a vintage quarterback versus Tampa Bay day, where it's just man, this dude, they have the 4th and 2.
Yeah.
They have the 4th and 2, and Diaby beats his man clean. Good job of that. Can't wrap up. Then Reddick's right there. He can't get him down. Darnold finds the guy wide open. And there was a bunch of dudes that were just open. And JSN made some incredible plays, right? There was another cup. I had a bobbling catch.
Unbelievable.
Then the one play where Diaby tips it. I thought it was over then. I was like, this is just not their day. I was like, this if that's how that's gonna work, I was like, man, oh man. And then you had the one deep. I thought Parrish had a pretty rough day, easily his worst game as a pro. But again, I mean, when you're down Jamel Dean, you're down Benjamin Morrison. You gotta have different guys step up, and Parrish definitely played a bigger role than probably he's been used to. But I will say, I don't think this defense is bad, right? It was a bad day. That's the difference. This was earlier this week. I say that I just thought this was interesting, and this includes turnovers, but the Buccaneers, as we know, they had 2 turnovers a day, but they've been having trouble, right, taking the ball away. Top NFL defenses in havoc, which is the percentage of plays a defense gets a pressure, a tackle for loss, a forced fumble, an interception, or a pass breakup. The Buccaneers are number 1, and at least they were number 1 entering this coming week at 46.2%. The Broncos are second with 43.7%. So that means that the Buccaneers are getting a lot of PBUs. They're getting a lot of tackle for losses. They're getting pressure. And that means they're doing it at such a high level because we know that they only had, 1 forced fumble and 1 interception prior to this. So if they start taking the ball away too, you could see a really explosive defense here shortly. And again, they weren't good today, but that doesn't mean they're bad, and I don't think they are bad. I think Seattle played pretty darn well. Their pass protection was really good. They were doing max protect and on a lot of the ones, and the Bucs just couldn't really touch Darnold, and that was a big deal, obviously, right? But they touched it when it mattered, right? Because Antoine Mayfield comes in on that blitz, and that affected that throw and ultimately led to the Buccaneers winning.
Yeah, and the importance of complementary football being something that every team is going to kind of rely on to win. If you get this offense and defense rolling at the same time, I'm excited to see them build off of today. I know that at the end of the year, this might be the outlier performance when you consider that, if I'm not mistaken, they had well over 400 yards of offense today. So, I mean,
I think both teams did.
Yeah, it was quite the shootout, but this is exciting because you're starting to see things, again, finally start to open up with Josh Grizzard as your play caller here. Let's get to our caller from the 626. I think I know who this is, but I'm curious to hear. Who is this? We appreciate you holding on.
What's up, guys? It's Richard T from the West Coast.
4-1, Richard. How we feeling?
Oh man, this is well. First of all, I think my heart is feeling better now. So I think it's recovered. This is crazy. That was a wild ass game. Geez. All I have, here's a question for you guys. How do you guys like to eat your Seahawks? I say steak.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
I did not know where that was going. That's good.
Dude, what a day Mayfield had. Just look, respect to Seahawks defense. They played their asses off, and they did not. Despite the score, it did not look easy. And but him and Egbuka just carving up that defense was just poetry in motion. And what a find for us, the Bucs, to have drafted that guy, Emeka Egbuka. He has been crazy impressive. Just to talk about that touchdown catch really quick, it is so impressive how he doesn't let the defender know that the ball is coming to him until the very last second. He finally gets his hands up, and by that time, ball is in hand, ball is secured, defender can't do anything, touchdown. He not only did that once, but he also, he did that against the Falcons in his, twice, or that game-winning touchdown against the Falcons. It is so impressive how the IQ of this guy is just so up there, and we're just so lucky. We really have to count our blessings for that. I know that there were a lot of Bucs fans who were not happy with this pick, but man, what an amazing performance for him to come home, put a showing like he did, ball out. Not just him coming home, but Cade Otton. We finally got to see Cade Otton show up, show out, make big catches early and often, just like the way we thought he was going to. With now that the offensive line is becoming just a little bit more gelled together. They only allowed, one sack?
I believe so, yep.
For all the hype coming into this game about the defensive line for the Seahawks, and that on a beat-up Bucs offensive line, that is wildly impressive. So yeah, Cade Otton, Emeka Egbuka, dude. All right, what you got?
Emeka Egbuka has far away been the most explosive player on this Buccaneers offense. And again, another vintage performance at this point for Baker Mayfield, which you love to see. It's just good to see this offense running as smoothly as it did today. They had an answer at every corner. Sam Darnold playing out of his mind, Seattle finding ways to continuously move the football, and the Bucs just were calm, cool, and collected on the offensive side of the ball. I think that's very promising to see. Emeka Egbuka is the future, man. And Evan, I know that we've said this time and time again. Emeka Egbuka had a strong day. We talked about Cade Otton getting involved. Tez Johnson, 4 catches for 59. And shout out Sterling Shepard, 4 catches for 24 yards. And, of course, that big-time touchdown at the end to tie things up for Tampa Bay.
That's a great job by Baker, extending that play also.
Yeah.
Just being able to find that guy. He thought the play was dead, and it's never truly dead with that guy.
I think that, truthfully, one of the earlier callers had brought it up, but you talk about wanting to be the best of the best in the NFC. The Eagles' luck ran out this week. Denver was able to pull one out, and they were able to take them down. So when you talk about records, the Bucs are right there. I know they don't have that head-to-head against Philly, but this was a solid win in the NFC, all things considered. Seattle is going to be a competitive team down the stretch. They are a good team. They are a better team than what the Bucs have faced outside of Philadelphia at this point. So I still feel good about the Bucs being one of the better teams in the NFC, and this was another solid performance. I know it wasn't perfect. It's never going to be perfect over the course of an NFL season, but it was a damn good one. Final thoughts here, Richard T.
I don't think we're not discussing enough this matchup between our first-year offensive play caller in Josh Grizzard versus a very well-established defensive coordinator, play caller, and head coach, Mike McDonald. They really went head-to-head, and, it was such a chess match.
Did we lose him? He started talking about
No,
chess.
man, I think
There you go.
offensively, they were Seahawks were really good, man. But dude, Uncle Levante David, I am so sorry of all the bad mouthing that I did on him this week, saying and earlier in the game how, he let that touchdown in by the tight end, and it hurt my soul because I know that 5 years ago Levante David wouldn't have let that in, and then to put the game in his hand, literally on that potential game-winning drive for the Seahawks, and for the Bucs to go back down and get the game-winning field goal. Just again, you couldn't script it any better. And Levante, you say good, say bad. He's a Bucs for life, and we're damn proud to have him. So, you guys, have a good rest of your day. And let's fucking go. Go Bucs!
Go Bucs. Richard T., we appreciate you calling in, buddy. We will talk to you soon. We got some more people on hold here. Phone lines are jam-packed. From the 727, we appreciate your patience. Who's this?
Hi, this is David. How are you?
David, how you doing?
Good. So first of all, I was very happy to be following today live. I've been trying to catch you guys live, but I got unlucky last week, and I'm just very happy with the outcome. I think traveling to Seattle and playing away with the number of injuries that we had this week, it's just something very, very hard to do. I think it really showed because I think for the first 4 games, our secondary was kind of under control, and losing both Jamel Dean and Morrison for the same game, Ezian also unable to play. We were really, really short, but I kind of disagree with a lot of people that said that it was a horrible defensive performance, because I think sometimes you have to do the best with the players that are available, and I think it was really good. I also need to say that many of the times when we play away, we have to beat the other team and we have to beat the refs.
Yeah.
So I think it's completely bullshit. Antoine Winfield interception, that type of penalty. If you are going to call that type of penalty, you would have to call 50 penalties per game. And it is just weird, right? They completely waited to see the outcome of the play to then throw the flag. So I think that was completely bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a weaker call. Even Zion McCollum, you even see him, sort of he tries to put his hands up mid route, and he's like, I'm not touching him, and they still end up calling it. It was strange.
They had the illegal man downfield.
Yeah.
I think it was on Barton at some point in the game too, and that just seemed very tic-tac.
I think they picked it up though.
You know what? You are correct, because it ended up being a first down. I remember it was a big-time conversion, and it was a 1st and 10 after that, so excuse my mistake.
But they did do the one where Otten, on the 3rd down, on the 1 3rd down, Otten was called for the illegal formation.
Yeah, that was because he wasn't on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
and
but
I don't know.
He
was. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense. But David, you do bring up a lot of good key points here, and I think that one of the more important things to take away from this win is very much like you said. With this defense, you're playing with the best players you have available. And I don't think a couple of weeks ago people expected the Bucs to walk into this matchup with Kindle Vildor as their third cornerback, right? The Bucs started with Zion
Yeah.
McCollum and Jacob Parrish playing outside, and then when they had the nickel look, Kindle Vildor became their third corner, and then Jacob Parrish would move back to nickel. So, the Bucs have been in this situation before as far as playing with who you have and just kind of dealing with it on the defensive side of the ball. I think all things considered, what was it, 7 or 8 starters that they were missing headed into this game? It's another hell of a win in a season now that is chock full of gutsy wins for this Buccaneers team. And it's you hate that it's becoming a trend, but with how injured they are, it seems par for the course. And the fact that they are on the winning side of these games is what's most important.
Yes, definitely. No, and then there is another thing as well. Like we should not pretend that we solved all our roster issues during the off season, right?
Yep.
So, it was pretty much the first game from the Servatier Dennis in which he held it together, and that's very good, right? But like I was pulling my hair off, for the first 4 games, because he was playing really bad. It's not easy, for example, for Parrish, who was playing really well nickel position, for him to play outside, out of the sudden, like he did today, So I think that we are overcoming a lot of things, and I think, I think we need to give a credit to Todd Bowles. And I know that people, a lot of people don't like Todd Bowles, but I think this team has some resiliency, and they never give up. It doesn't matter, if the refs are calling bullshit plays. It doesn't matter if it's difficult, if you have a lot of injuries. They always play tough. And I see a lot of teams that give up, with way better rosters, So that's all I have to say. Go Bucs, and I'm just very happy with the result.
David, great call, man. We'll talk to you soon. Go Bucs. Appreciate hearing from you. I will say this about the Buccaneers' defensive struggles, if you will. And this is just the way that I look at it. With the game today, I come away looking at Seattle scoring 35 points. And I still hold firm to the belief this team, more than anything in the secondary, more than anything in that linebacker room, this team needs an edge rusher. The Bucs had 0 sacks today. Sam Darnold had a clean pocket all day. For the most part, he had a couple of broken plays he had to improvise within. But I think this team needs an edge rusher. It feels like that, regardless of everything happening in the secondary. I know injuries you can't account for, but regardless of Levante David and Servatier Dennis's up and down play, an edge rusher would transform this defense and help them take the step that they need to take. We talk about a killer instinct in the fourth quarter. Could you imagine how badly we needed a sack on any of those 5 straight Seattle scoring drives in that second half? A sack would have killed any of those drives, and I don't think we got an ounce of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, look, I do think Seattle was, like I said, just from what I'd seen, I haven't really watched, obviously, I haven't watched any tape or anything, but they were doing max protect a lot of the time. I think it was an emphasis to try and keep the pocket clean for Sam Darnold. Give him time to throw. There was also a couple of times where Darnold was getting the ball out, pretty quickly. So,
yeah.
The pass rush wasn't great today, and I agree. And there are times like, look, I'm not going to kill him for not consistently getting pressure, but when you do, like on that 4th and 2, like you got to make a play. Like that's where you hope. Yeah, Diaby did a great job of getting by the tackle. Right, you beat him. Great work. You got to finish that play though, right? Hassan Reddick. Okay, Diaby doesn't finish the play. You're right there. You got to finish that play, right? That's what you're brought here to do. So, and that would have been, the Bucs at that point, it was a tie game, I think. So it was 28-28, I think. And then Seattle, that was the touchdown to have Seattle go up. So, yeah, I mean, the pass rush wasn't great. I'm not hitting the panic button because for the most part, like their pressure numbers have actually been like much better this season than they have been last season. So
Oh, yeah.
overall, they've been better at it. But I do agree. I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, they have a better edge rusher. Like, they have someone like a Max Crosby, like just somebody who you can like rely upon consistently, right? Like week in and week out, to go do a job. But those guys are also rare, right? Like those guys aren't like it's not like every single team has one. So I mean, and I think the Bucs are going to continue to look every offseason, really. I mean, look, nowadays in the NFL, teams are constantly looking for pass rushers. I mean, they just are because of how important it is, right? In the NFL, if you don't have a pass rush in today's NFL, you're gonna have a lot of games like you did today. And guess what? Seattle's pass rush. We talk about the job the Bucs offensive line did. Seattle's pass rush didn't do a whole lot either. And Seattle is a group who is kind of like the opposite of the Bucs of how they like to get their pressure. They like to get their pressure with just four guys, and the Bucs really like the blitz. And Seattle doesn't like the blitz. Actually, their one sack came on a blitz, so it was kind of uncharacteristic of them. But they had to do that because they could not get pressure. So yeah, I agree. The pass rush wasn't great, but I will say that I don't think it's like the end of the world, and I'm curious to see how they play in the next couple weeks. But a few more things really quick before we wrap up. This is from John Ledyard. Baker Mayfield was 11 of 12 for 165 yards on 13 dropbacks off of play action against Seattle. That's pretty crazy. I mean, he was dicing them up on play action. The Bucs haven't been using play action as much this season as they have last year. But maybe this maybe shows something that they are going to start using play action a little bit more, especially if you're that successful at it. So, yeah, that's definitely a good thing to see. And then also one more thing I kind of have is like this is another important win, I think, because of the next two games that you have, right? You're facing San Francisco and Tampa. San Francisco coming off a big win in LA. And the Rams are really freaking good too. So San Francisco is a really good football team, right? Like I know they're banged up. They're not going to have George Kittle. They're not going to have Nick Bosa. And it didn't Kyle Shanahan like didn't sound very confident that like Brock Purdy would be playing in the game. He was like Purdy's like week to week, and I'm like that doesn't sound like somebody who's like expecting Purdy to be back immediately.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But Mac Jones has played really well too. And then the next week you got Detroit. You got Detroit on Monday Night Football, and I know Detroit kind of started the year off slow with a loss to Green Bay, but they've really picked up steam here, and that's a road game, and that's not going to be easy. So this is a tough 3-game stretch. So to be able to start that 3-game stretch, with a W is pretty important, especially after the loss last week. You didn't really want the snowball back-to-back losses. That's not something you want to do. It kind of would have erased the good feeling of a 3-0 start.
Yeah, it feels good to stack up some wins again in a crucial race here. In the NFC, it's going to be tight. One last thing just on the edge rusher conversation to put a bow on it, if you will. I look at the depth chart. I look at the Bucs roster. Hassan Reddick has been good in his own right this season. He's been playing well. Again, you talk a lot about those pressures, and like that's all great. But we can pressure all day and still allow 35 points to Seattle, and they're a good offense.
But they, to be fair, they didn't pressure today. That's why I said the pass rush wasn't great today. Like,
right. I think just having someone outside of Reddick, Yaya Diaby couldn't finish plays today. He's coming up big, and that's been the story of his life so far in the NFL. He led the league in pressures last year, if I'm not mistaken, but just isn't getting in the sack column, if you will. I look at this edge rusher room, and outside of Hassan Reddick, it feels like a bunch of dudes. Chris Braswell is a dude. I don't see him as much more. Anthony Nelson, he's like a 5-sack-a-year dude. He'll clean up for you, and the Bucs have paid him as such. But I'd love to have a game wrecker in there. That would make this defense. That would make this defense one of the best in the NFL.
So I'm not 100% sure. I do think. Okay, this isn't exactly updated with not 100% updated, but for some teams, for others it is updated. For some it's not. But the Buccaneers were, I believe, 19th in the NFL right now, tied with a bunch of teams for sacks with 10.
Nice.
They're tied with like 6 other teams: Falcons, Cowboys, Chiefs, Patriots, Commanders, Giants. So. The Bills actually have less. The Eagles actually only have 7 sacks. So, I mean, yeah, like the sack numbers, 49ers actually only have 6. as well. So yeah, the sack numbers could definitely be better, and hopefully they do get up. But right now I'd say the Bucs have been about maybe slightly below average in the sack department, but the pressure rate's been pretty high. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully it turns, right? And they're gonna need guys like Yaya Diaby step up. They were relying on Yaya Diaby, right? They put a lot of eggs in their basket. That's why they just went out and acquired, Hassan Reddick, and didn't go out and try and get another guy, or didn't go out and try and get somebody a little bit, higher impact than Hassan Reddick, or didn't draft an edge rusher in the first or second round, So they believe in a guy like Diaby, and he's made some plays, but there's a few times where you really wish, man, like, make that play. Like, you can make a play, but make that play, and hopefully, coming up he can.
And let's wrap it up with a hand for Money Mac, Chase McLaughlin. Flu game, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Jordan-like out there, 3 for 3. His long from 39 yards, put 12 points on the board for the Buccaneers. A nice return to form for Chase McLaughlin, who was added to the injury report later than any player I've ever seen. I think it was yesterday around this time that the report floated out. He was just dealing with some, I don't know, bad sushi or something from wherever they went.
Yeah, just dealing with some. So it was an illness, and then it came out today that it was like a stomach issue. So, yeah, he was able to get. I mean, he might spend a lot of time, in the throne tonight, but he was able to get through it. And this is also, he only makes game-winning kicks when he's wearing the throwback uniform. So, just saying, that's the second straight time. You set 2 games, right?
Yeah.
And also, shout out to the Buccaneers white throwbacks. Unless there is a surprise, the Buccaneers will not be wearing them again. Again, could always change, but I don't believe there are any plans for the Buccaneers to be wearing those uniforms again this season, and sure seems like that was something only for a 50th anniversary. I do wonder if they end up bringing one in with the red numbers instead, as another alternate. But it seems like this specific one was most likely just for this season. So Bucs were 2-0 in those jerseys, and shout out to them.
2 all-time classics. We talk about Buccaneers lore and some of the most fun games that you can watch. I'll watch this Seahawks-Bucs game 20 years from now and have just as much fun as I did today. It's kind of, it had shades of that Jared Goff versus Pat Mahomes, LA Rams versus Kansas City in the Coliseum.
Speaking of Rams, it had shades of Rams versus Bucs 2019.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
What
was it? It was a defensive play that sort of wrapped that game up for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, let's not forget. Big test next week for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Going to be interesting to see if it is Mac Jones, who has been playing well for San Francisco. He sees dead people and then goes out and wins the game.
Dude,
so, I mean...
That's insane. the headline that Diana Rossini had on that.
Yeah.
Mac Jones saw a dead body out front of the team hotel hours before. I'm like, oh, geez.
Yikes.
Anyway, what's going on with A.J. Brown and the Eagles?
Right. Very interesting to see who the Bucs are going to square up against next week. It could be Brock Purdy, could be Mac Jones. Either one of those guys has a history of giving the Bucs some problems. So it's something to monitor as the week goes on. But the Bucs are 4-1, and it feels good to stack wins inside the NFC right now. Going to be a very competitive division down the stretch. That's going to do it for today's episode of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Thank you guys for hanging out with us live on YouTube today for the post game. Thank you to everybody who called in: Corey, BK, Richard T, MK, David, and anybody else that I may have missed. We truly appreciate your support. Thank you to the super chats. One more time for the Cannon Fire crew, all of our people in the live chat holding it down today. Austin Mills, L. Peter 747, Dub, Richard T from the West Coast. You got to pause for dramatic effect. Bill Camporis with the super chat throwing it down. Timothy Word, MK. Can't forget MK. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Anybody else that I may have missed? Follow the show on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast. Best place to go for updates on the show. And, of course, Buccaneer news as it happens. You can follow my co-host, Evan, on Instagram at Bucs_Daily. Realtor Dave Zussman here with a last minute.
There we go.
$10 super chat says, go Bucs. Thank you, Dave.
Appreciate it.
We really do appreciate you guys. Follow Evan on Instagram at Bucs_Daily. You can also find him on Twitter at EvanNFL. And check out his written work at bucksnation.com. What have you got coming up this week?
Yeah, gonna have reactions from this game. Probably gonna be a lot of reactions from this game, so stay tuned for that. And then later on in the week, the 49ers probably gonna be doing the Q&A with the 49ers site. I'm not 100% sure, but most likely. And then on the Cannon Fire Podcast YouTube channel, gonna be continuing with betting the Bucs. When I believe, and I haven't double checked it yet, but just off the top of my head, I believe went 3-1 again this week. So starting to stack up a little bit here. And then also we'll be having tomorrow, we'll be having the best and the worst from this game, which that should be an interesting list. I'm curious to see what we come up with there. And then players to watch for the upcoming game. So if you guys are listening on audio, we appreciate you listening on audio. But if you want a little extra Buccaneers coverage during the week, stay tuned to the Cannon Fire Podcast YouTube channel.
Make sure you leave a thumbs up if you're taking off in the live chat. Every thumbs up helps support us on YouTube and push the channel into the algorithm and please the YouTube gods. Last but not least, you can find myself Instagram and Twitter at Redicus, RHETTAKUS. If you follow me, I will follow you back. And please check out the Rondé Barber show this week. Very excited to get his thoughts as he returns from London, Mr. Worldwide. He was in He was in Dublin last weekend. He was in London this weekend. So watching the Vikings and the Browns this morning. I also didn't realize until today that the Vikings had back-to-back international games.
Yeah, Dublin and then London.
Oh my god!
And then next week, not the Vikings obviously, but next week's another London game. So it's the Jets and Broncos, which that should be fun.
It's only a matter of time. I think the last international game for the Bucs was against Seattle with
Germany.
Tom Brady in 2022. They played in Germany, like you said, and Julio Jones, Buccaneer legend, became the first NFL player to score a touchdown in Germany. So that was a moment, man.
Well, I saw the clip resurface this week of the Leonard Fournette throw to Brady, where Brady falls. I'm like, Jesus.
What? I don't think there's any single play that encapsulates.
Yeah. Just sums up. It basically sums up the 2022 Tampa Bay Buccaneers than that play.
You said it, my friend. With that being said, that's just about going to do it for today's episode. Thank you again, everybody, for hanging out with us. I'm your host, Rhett Matthews, signing off from my co-host, Evan Wanish. We will see you in the next one. Until then, and as always, thank you for listening, and go Bucs.